this is the information from section 5.4, and this is all about dividing fractions. There's a certain rule that you have to remember when you divide fractions, and we're going to start out by dividing a fraction by a fraction. So like if I have negative 2/3 divided by 4/5. The rule basically, if you were going to summarize it, you could say keep, change, flip. So you keep the first fraction as it is, you change your division to multiplication, and you flip your second fraction, or you take the reciprocal of it. And then you're back to your multiplication rules where you multiply straight across. So I have -2 times 5, which is a -10, and I have 3 times 4, which is 12. But remember, you cannot leave it like that because that is not reduced to lowest terms. There is still a number that goes into both -10 and 12, and that number is 2. So I'm going to divide the top and the bottom by 2, which is going to give me a -5/6, and that's going to be your final answer. So let's do another one of those. And let's say I've got -7/8 divided by, I don't know, 1/3. Okay, keep, so I keep the 7/8, I change the division to multiplication, and I flip my second fraction. Keep, change, flip. If you can remember that, you've got it. So now I've got -7 times 3, which is -21, and I have 8 times 1, which is 8. Well, this is an improper fraction. So you have to change that to a mixed numeral. So you're going to take 8, divide it into -21. It goes 2 times, and of course it's going to be a negative because a negative divided by a positive is a negative. And you've got a 16 here with 5 left over. You take your remainder, place it over your divisor. So your final answer here is -2 and 5/8. Okay? All right, so that's dividing a fraction by a fraction. Now, what happens if you're dividing a fraction by a whole number? Say I have 2/3 divided by -5. Okay, I've got a fraction and I've got a whole number. Anytime you have a whole number, you can make it into a fraction by placing 1 underneath it. Then I'm back over here. I keep, I change my division to multiplication, and I flip my second number. Now, it does not matter whether you keep the negative on the 5 or the negative on 1. It can't be on both. But if I keep it on the 5, it looks like this. So I'm going to go 2 times 1 is 2. 3 times -5 is -15. That cannot be reduced, so that's my final answer. Let's do another one. What if my whole number is at the front? And I have 2 divided by 1/4. Again, I take my whole number, put a 1 underneath it, and then I apply that. Keep, change, flip. So 2 over 1 multiplied, I kept the 2 over 1, I changed the division to multiplication, and I flip this second fraction. So 2 times 4 is 8, 1 times 1 is 1, so my final answer is 8. All right, so that's division by a whole number, or working with a whole number. Then we move to mixed numerals. Okay, mixed numerals are a combination of your whole number and fraction. So let's say I have something that looks like that. The very first thing you're going to do if you have mixed numerals is you're going to change them to improper fractions. Now, remember, you go 4 times 2 plus 1. So 4 times 2 is 8, plus 1 is 9. So I have 9 over 4. Okay, this right here is going to change to multiplication. Well, actually, let's leave it all as division still until we get the improper fractions. 3 times 3 plus 2. So 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11. and I'm going to place it over my denominator, or the bottom number. So now I have 9/4 divided by 11/3. Now I'm back here where I'm dividing by a fraction. So I keep, I change, I flip. Okay, 9 times 3 is 27. 4 times 11 is 44. And you cannot reduce that, so that's your final answer. Let's do another one of those. Okay, so first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to change them into improper fractions. 7 times 7 is 49, plus 2 more is 51. 51 over 7. Still going to keep my division there for now. 3 times 1 is 3, plus 1 more is 4. So now I have two fractions that I'm dividing. So I keep, change, flip. 51 over 7 times 3 over 4. And I'm going to multiply. That's going to give me 153 over 28. Obviously an improper fraction. So now I have to divide 28 into 153. It's going to go probably, let's try 6. No, 6 is going to be too high. Let's try 5. 5 times 4, or 5 times 8 is 40. Carry my 4. 5 times 2 is 10, plus 4 more is 15. With 13 left over, so the 13 goes on the top, and the 28 goes on the bottom. So this is equal to 5 and 13 28ths. So that would be your final answer, okay? So that's division by a mixed numeral. But you are in pre-algebra, so you know that we're going to add some variables in here. So let's say you've got 3xy over 4 divided by 2x over 8. Well, you're still going to apply this. Keep, change, flip. That's going to be the same thing all the way through because it's division. So I'm going to write this first fraction as it is. Keep, change, division to multiplication, flip. Now, you can do this one of two ways. You can either go ahead and multiply across. So I've got 24, 8 times 3, xy over 8x. And then I go, okay, well, I've got to change this. I can take the 24 over 8, and it reduces to 3 over 1 because I can divide both of them by 8. The x's mark out, and I'm left with a y on the top. So that's just going to give me 3y. Or you can what we call cross-reduce it before you start. If I can reduce top or bottom or diagonal, I can go ahead and do it before I start. So I can go, oh, x and x cancel each other out. 8 and 4, I can divide them both by 4, so that gives me a 2 over 1. Then I've got a 2 over 2 here. That's equal to 1. And that leaves me with just 3y. It really doesn't matter which way you do it. You can multiply straight across if you understand that way first, or you can cross-reduce. But you must flip it before you cross-reduce. Let's do another one. Let's say we have 5x over 8y divided by 10 over 16y. Okay, I've got to flip it. Keep, change, flip first. So 5x over 8y times 16y over 10. Again, you could multiply straight across first, or you can cross-reduce. When you multiply first, you have bigger numbers that you have to reduce down. So it's probably easier to reduce first. Now, you cannot reduce side to side. You can only reduce up and down or diagonal. So the 5 and the 10, I can divide them both by 5, and that's going to give me 1 over 2. I have a 16 and an 8 that I can divide both by 8, so that's going to give me a 2 over 1. I have a y and a y where they become 1, so essentially they cancel out. What I have left on the top is 2 times x. What I have left on the bottom is 1 times 2, which is 2. Well, you'll notice those go away, leaving you just with x. Okay? All right, so your homework on this is page 218. And I want you to do 22 through 44 even. Okay?